He replaced me with a younger woman. She was everything I wasn't. Whole, functional, able to give him airs. He paraded her at events where I used to stand. He announced their relationship on the same social media where he'd called me his soulmate. The message was clear. I was the defective model. She was the upgrade. But 6 years later, when he saw me pregnant, his world stopped. Because the defective woman was carrying a billionaire's child, and the upgrade. She left him 72 hours later for someone richer. Turns out I wasn't defective. I was just with the wrong man. Tell me in the comments which country you're watching from and whether karma like this exists where you live. The scalding coffee hit Sarah Chen's 6-month bump first, a deliberate, vicious arc that made her gasp. She stood trembling outside a downtown Starbucks, her laptop bag fallen, papers scattering across the wet pavement. Then came the laughter, sharp and cruel, from the silver Porsche 911. Marcus Webb, her ex-husband, leaned out, his face twisted with satisfaction. Still working at that pathetic nonprofit, Sarah? Still pretending you matter? His eyes locked onto her swollen belly. You'll lose this one too, just like you lost ours. Does your new boyfriend know you're broken, that your body kills babies? He revved the engine, those words cutting deeper than any blade. Sarah, the cherished wife of tech billionaire David Chen, could only stand frozen, drenched in humiliation and coffee, as Marcus drove away laughing. 6 years earlier, Sarah Morna was 24, a passionate social worker in Seattle's roughest neighborhoods. She believed in second chances and saw beauty in broken things. Marcus Webb, 30, was a rising tech entrepreneur, the founder of Webb Digital Solutions. He was magnetic, ambitious, and made Sarah feel like she'd won the lottery of love. Their wedding was intimate, a small ceremony at Pike Place Market. As Marcus slipped the ring on her finger, he whispered, "You're mine now, Sarah." She thought it sounded romantic. She didn't hear the warning. The first year was intoxicating. Marcus showered her with gifts, designer clothes, expensive dinners, a luxury condo. He introduced her as my wife, the social worker, and Sarah, naive and in love, didn't notice the condescension dripping from those words or the pitying glances from his tech bro friends. By year 2, the cage began to close. You represent Web Digital now, Sarah. You can't wear Target clearance to investor dinners. He controlled her wardrobe, her schedule, even her hairstyle. She rationalized it as love, as Marcus helping her fit into his sophisticated world. Year 3 brought devastating hope. Sarah got pregnant. She wept with joy, imagining a daughter named Emma with Marcus's sharp intelligence and her compassionate heart. Marcus announced it on LinkedIn, sent expensive champagne to clients, posted about building my legacy. It was a business achievement, not a miracle, but pregnancy was inconvenient. Sarah's severe morning sickness kept her from the networking events Marcus demanded she attend. Push through it, Sarah. I have VCs to impress. You're making me look weak. The tragedy struck at 26 weeks. Sarah was presenting to at-risk youth when agonizing cramps doubled her over. She called Marcus 17 times. He was pitching a $20 million Series B funding round. He didn't answer. A colleague rushed Sarah to the hospital. Baby Emma was born silent, perfectly formed, heartbreakingly still gone. Marcus arrived 6 hours later, still in his pitch-perfect suit, checking his phone. Doctor said these things happen, he stated flatly, like discussing a failed product launch. We'll try again. Holding their dead daughter, Sarah felt something inside her die that wasn't Emma. The next day brought crushing news. Mrs. Webb, the trauma has caused significant damage. Your chances of carrying another pregnancy to term are approximately 5%. When Sarah told Marcus, his face hardened with cold calculation. So you're basically useless for having kids? Not sympathy, not grief. Just that word, useless. From that moment, Marcus weaponized her broken body. At dinners, we'd love kids, but Sarah has complications. During fights, maybe if you could give me a family, I'd want to come home. Finally, I'm 33, I need an heir, you can't provide that. Sarah became invisible in her own marriage, drowning in depression while Marcus's affair with Jessica, his 25-year-old marketing director, became Silicon Valley's worst-kept secret. The end came when Sarah returned early from a therapy appointment and found Marcus and Jessica in their bed, naked and laughing. Marcus saw her and felt only irritation. "Maybe if you weren't defective, I wouldn't need to look elsewhere." Sarah packed one bag that night, hands shaking so violently she could barely zip it. She filed for divorce the next morning. Marcus didn't contest it. "Good, I need someone who can actually secure my legacy." But he ensured she didn't leave quietly. Marcus launched a vicious campaign telling everyone, investors, friends, mutual connections, that Sarah was unstable, unfaithful, the villain who destroyed their marriage. For 8 months, Sarah lived in a cramped studio apartment, believing his lies. She was broken, but finally she was free. Sarah was volunteering at a children's literacy event when she met him. A man in a simple button-down was organizing donated books, sorting them carefully, actually reading the titles. He wasn't barking orders or checking stock prices. He was just helping. "Need a hand," Sarah offered. He looked up and smiled, genuine warmth that reached his kind brown eyes. "I'd love one. I'm David." They talked for hours about everything except their jobs, about favorite books, childhood dreams, the importance of education. David didn't ask, "What do you do?" or "Where do you live?" He asked, "What makes you happy?" and actually listened to her answer. They started dating, coffee walks, used bookstore visits, hole-in-the-wall restaurant discoveries. David mentioned he worked in family business and tech investments. Sarah assumed he was a comfortable middle manager. She didn't care. He was gentle, patient, and never demanded anything. When Sarah finally confessed her past, the divorce, the smear campaign, losing Emma, being called defective, David simply held her hand. He didn't try to fix her pain, he just let it exist. 4 months in, David took her to dinner, his voice tight with anxiety. "There's something I need to tell you. I wanted you to know me first." Sarah's stomach dropped, old trauma screaming warnings. "My last name is Chen," David said quietly. "My father is Thomas Chen." The name hit like thunder. Thomas Chen. Billionaire founder of Chen Technologies, a $15 billion empire controlling cloud infrastructure, AI development, and venture capital across 3 continents. "Why didn't you tell me?" Sarah whispered. "Because I wanted you to know David," he said, eyes pleading. "Not the Chen heir, not the money. Does it change things, Sarah? Be honest." Sarah thought of Marcus, who led with his wealth, who used success as a weapon. Then she looked at this man who'd spent months shelving books and listening to her dreams, the man who'd hidden the most powerful name in tech just to ensure her love was real. "No," Sarah said firmly. "It doesn't change anything." They married at the Chen family estate in Napa Valley. Thomas Chen walked Sarah down the aisle. "You're my daughter, Sarah," he said, voice thick with emotion. "Not my daughter-in-law, my daughter." Marcus never knew. When Sarah became Sarah Chen, her life transformed. But she didn't change. She kept her nonprofit work, her students completely unaware their counselor now had security details waiting discreetly outside. Then the impossible happened. 3 months into marriage, Sarah took a pregnancy test with trembling hands. 2 lines, positive. The doctor's 5% statistic haunted her. Marcus's ghost whispered, "You'll kill this one too." She called David from the bathroom floor. 20 minutes later, he was beside her looking at the test. His face shifted through shock, fear, and finally fierce resolve. "We're doing this together, Sarah," he vowed. "Every appointment, every moment, every fear, you are not alone. And no one will ever break you again." The present now, standing outside Starbucks, coffee soaked and trembling, Sarah knew Marcus hadn't just attacked a pregnant woman. He'd assaulted the wife of the most powerful family in American tech. He'd insulted their future heir. He'd declared war on the wrong dynasty. Within the hour, the video went viral. A witness had captured everything: Marcus's cruel taunts about Sarah being broken and defective, the deliberate coffee throw, the malicious laughter. David didn't try to scrub it, he amplified it. "Ensure every news outlet receives this." he ordered Chen Technologies' media division. Don't mention Sarah's married name yet. Let the outrage build. Then came the strategic reveal. A photo leaked, Thomas Chen walking with Sarah at a charity gala. The caption, "Wait, is this the same woman? Is the victim Sarah Chen, wife of tech heir David Chen?" The story exploded. CNN, TechCrunch, Bloomberg, everyone covered it. Tech entrepreneur attacks Chen Technologies' heir's pregnant wife. David called his father, currently in Singapore. Thomas listened, quiet rage vibrating through the phone. "He insulted my daughter and endangered my grandchild," Thomas stated, voice deadly calm. "He will lose everything, David. Do it cleanly." Marcus Webb's empire was built on venture capital and cloud service contracts. Both were vulnerabilities. Day 1, Chen Technologies' legal team initiated routine compliance reviews on Marcus's government cloud contracts. A single email from the Department of Defense. Temporary freeze on receivables pending ethical review. Marcus shrugged. Bureaucratic red tape. He didn't know Thomas Chen had made one call to a former Secretary of Defense who now sat on Chen Technologies' advisory board. That call cost Marcus $40 million in immediate cash flow. The investors, David personally contacted Web Digital's 3 major VC backers. He didn't threaten. He simply asked, "Are you aware of the ethical violations concerning a founder who uses your capital? Chen Technologies would hate to see our partners compromised by association." By close of business, Marcus received identical emails. Emergency review of investment terms. Immediate financial audit required. The VCs were terrified of offending the colossal whale, Chen Technologies, over the minnow, Web Digital. Marcus's world began imploding. His PR firm quit. His board members panicked. But Marcus, still delusional, screamed at Jessica, "It's just coffee. The media is oversensitive." He didn't know the senator he was calling had already been contacted by Thomas Chen's assistant, politely informed that any association with Marcus Webb could jeopardize far more lucrative Chen Technologies partnerships. Day 2, Marcus's lead investor called. "Marcus, we're demanding immediate buyback of our equity. The board voted to remove you as CEO pending ethical review." "You can't do this. I built this company," Marcus roared. "Your severance will be determined by audit," the investor said coldly and hung up. Marcus was locked out of his email, his systems, his own building within minutes. Day 3, Jessica was packing when Marcus found her. "Where are you going?" he demanded desperately. "I'm leaving, Marcus. You're finished," she said, zipping designer luggage he'd bought her. "We can start over. You told me you were worth $200 million. You're leveraged to bankruptcy and facing SEC inquiries. I don't date failures, Marcus. I'm moving to someone with real security, someone who doesn't attack pregnant women." She paused. "Besides, I heard the Chen family is hiring. They value people who know when to jump ship." She didn't look back. Marcus stood alone in his luxury condo, now feeling like a tomb, and turned on the news. The spectacular downfall of Marcus Webb is complete. His company has been seized by creditors. Sources confirm Sarah Chen, wife of David Chen, is resting comfortably and continuing her miraculous pregnancy. Marcus's mind reeled. Sarah Chen. His ex-wife, the social worker he called Defected, married to the son of Thomas Chen, the most powerful family in American technology. He hadn't attacked a random pregnant woman. He'd assaulted the future matriarch of a tech dynasty. He'd lost everything in 72 hours because of one moment of petty cruelty. 3 months later, the Chen estate's conservatory glowed with afternoon light. Sarah held her newborn son, James Thomas Chen, in her arms. The delivery had been perfect, no complications, just pure joy. The word defective had been incinerated by her son's first powerful cry. David sat beside her, reading the news. "You know, my father sold Web Digital to a nonprofit developer. They're converting Marcus's flagship project into affordable housing for social workers and teachers." Sarah smiled peacefully. Marcus's biggest achievement is now a monument to the work he despised. She looked at her sleeping son, then at the bowl of perfect fruit on the table. She picked up a ripe peach, its skin unblemished and whole, nothing like the scattered, destroyed papers from that day outside Starbucks. That broken image held no power anymore. Marcus Webb now worked as a mid-level consultant, making $60,000 a year, the exact salary he'd once mocked Sarah for living on. He lived in a modest apartment in Tacoma, riding the bus to work, forced to live the pathetic life he'd condemned her for. Sarah didn't feel triumph, just closure. Her revenge wasn't his destruction. It was her happiness. It was being here, alive, loved, and whole. The best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply living a life of authentic, unquantifiable value. This story proves that karma doesn't just arrive. It shows up in a billionaire's security detail with a ledger of receipts. Sarah's journey from being labeled defective to holding the Chen heir is a testament to resilience, proving that authenticity will always triumph over cruelty. If this tale of justice and reclaiming power touched your heart, please give this video a like and share it with someone who needs to remember that broken things can heal, and your true worth is never defined by your past. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that reminds us character, not wealth, determines our destiny. Tell us in the comments, what would you have done in Sarah's position?